So if you've got chronically tight hamstrings, no matter how much stretching you're doing, you still can't touch your toes, then this video is for you. So what we're going to do, we're going to use a hockey ball, lacrosse ball, mobility ball, whatever it is that you can get hold of, that it needs to be fairly firm. Now, we're going to start to use this ball between these 3 points on the sole of your foot. So between the big toe, the little toe and the heel, that soft part there, we're going to take that ball and we're just going to apply pressure down through that ball. Now we're not going to roll backwards and forwards, we're just going to apply pressure down on there, and we're going to dig out for any sore spots, any painful spots, and if we find them, we're just going to apply that pressure down and wait for that sore spot to just melt away. Once it's melted away, you just move to the next one. Pay particular attention to the inside arch and the outside of the foot also. Making sure that you move through that whole sole of the foot and spend about 2 minutes on each foot. We're going to go through a bit of a breathing technique. Now you can use either a yoga ball, you can use a football, you can use a foam roller, but it's just something that's going to go in between your knees to keep your knees directly in line with your hips. From there, we're just going to take you up against the wall, and we're going to start off just with your hands about shoulder height, and then from there we're just going to be walking the hands down as you start to hinge your hips back. Now with this movement, we don't want anything excessive in terms of turning the hips over. We want to keep a neutral pelvis, a neutral spine, and we're just walking the hands down to wherever your level is. Ideally, we're looking for somewhere in the region of a 90-degree bend where we can get the upper body and the lower body making this 90-degree angle. From there, with this ball or the foam roller, whatever you've got in between your legs, you're just going to squeeze those together about a 4 out of 10. So not an excessive squeeze. And then from there, we're just going to breathe. Now the breathing's really specific. It is nice and slow on the inhale, and that's coming in through your nose, and a long exhale out through your mouth as though you're sighing. So it'll look something like this. So we're just going to move into the hips now with our 90-90 hip rotation. So we're just going to set up with your feet a little outside your shoulder width. We're going to have your hands placed on the floor just behind you so that you're nice and comfortable. And then from there, we're just going to send the knee down towards the sole of the opposite foot as that knee drops down towards the floor. So we've got the inside of one knee coming down and the outside of the other knee coming down. This backhand can come off, and we come through the middle and it drops back down again. Just a nice smooth set of 10 reps on each side. Okay, so next up we've got the front foot elevated split squat. Now the higher the surface that you use, the easier this exercise is going to become. If you need to hold on to something as well for balance, for support, that's absolutely fine. We're just looking for some sort of movement. Now the front foot, we want it nice and secure on our surface, and we're just going to start off with a vertical shin with our weight going down through that front heel. We're up on the toes on the back one, and then from there, as we start to move forward, we're sending this knee towards the big toe and the second toe. We're going to pause in that bottom position, and then we're going to return back up to the start. And we're just looking for a nice smooth set of 10 reps. Once you've done 10 reps on one side, just switch over, do the same 10 reps on the other. So next up, what we're looking at doing is start to stretch the outer part of the hips or the glutes. Now, we can have this be fully adjustable depending on how much range of motion you've got at this time. And we can start high and we can work our way back down low. To give you a visual, this is high, so we're not asking too much to get into this position. So for a lot of you, this should be like really accessible. And then as we start to move down with an adjustable bench, we're asking a little bit more from these muscles to be able to open up and be able to stretch, and ultimately point where you can be in this supported position to really open up the hips. So in order for you to get there, where we're starting, the foot places down, we open that knee up, we keep this back leg straight, we keep the chest up, and we're going to apply pressure down through the bench, through the knee, and we're going to work from a 1 to 10. So we're pushing down in, we go 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10, and as we approach the 10-second point, we're putting all of our force into that bench, and then we're just going to ease off. And as we ease off, we either take a little drop back or we take a drop further down into that bench. Once you've been through that, if that felt comfortable, you can adjust the bench. We can come back into that position again, and we do the exact same thing again. So that 1 to 10, force in 10, 20%, 30%, 40%, 10 seconds, pressure, maximum effort on that 10-second point. Deep breath, relax, take a bit of a step back. And that's how we open up the outside. We just make sure that we do both sides. Okay, next up, we're going to start to stretch the calf muscles. So we're going to stretch them from 2 points. We're going to do a straight leg stretch and a bent leg stretch, where we're bending at the knees to do these movements. Now, one of the most important parts of this is going to be how you breathe during this, because we want to stay really relaxed. So we want a nice deep inhale and a long exhale as we're doing this, and you're going to hold each position for 2 minutes. So take your position on a wall, and then from here you're just stepping the foot back that you want to stretch. And the key here is to actually press that heel down into the floor. So we're not just passively just staying here, we're down into the floor the whole time, and then we're just looking to just breathe. So nice slow inhale, we're going to take this foot, we're going to turn it towards the wall now, and we're going to set up in a position where we can get just about to the wall. Now, depending on how much ankle mobility you've got at the moment, you may have to be really close to the wall in this bent knee position. Ideally, you want to be able to get about 5 inches away from the wall. So when we get set up, once again, we're pushing this heel down into the floor, the knees moving towards there, and we're just nice and relaxed on the wall, pressing the heel down, supported if we need to be. And we don't want too much stress going through this front thigh. If it is, then we just need to push down a little bit more through that heel so that we're keeping all of the work on the back of the legs. And then once again, we're just breathing when we're in this position. So next, what we're going to be doing is working through the inside of these leg muscles, so the adductor muscles on the inside. We're going to take a kneeling position. We're going to step one of the legs out. And then from here, we're just making a hinge move back that way. So you place your hands down and then we're just rocking back and forwards. And you're just going to work through your range of motion that you have with this. Okay, so next up what we have is our beast stance hinge. So with a beast stance, we're looking to have 1 foot forward, we're looking to have 1 foot back. Now the working leg is going to be this front foot, so it's probably worth me doing this side for you. From there, it is just a hinge position again, so we can take our arms, we can cross them across the chest, we can have them on here, but what we're looking for is a hinge back. So where we're keeping this leg straight and we've got pressure through the floor, through this foot, as we hinge back to wherever you can hinge to. It doesn't have to look in the same way that mine does. And then from there, you're going to push into the floor and squeeze your glute to come back through again. So we are hinging back. Pressure through the floor to come back. Spend a moment in that hinge position where you should be feeling the glute and the hamstring all on that working leg. And then we're squeezing the glute, squeezing the hamstring, pushing down through the floor to bring you back up. We're looking to do 12 reps on each leg. So next up, we're going to start to work on the strength of the muscles on the top of the leg to be able to pull that leg straight up. Now you're really gonna feel the top of this thigh working hard to perform this move. So you're gonna lie yourself down on the floor. We're gonna lock this leg straight. So the working leg, we're gonna lock straight. You're gonna squeeze that thigh. The knee's gonna be locked, and then from there, we're gonna pull this leg up to the position where you're at the point where the leg is starting to shake. Now this will be different for each one of you. But once it starts to shake, we're just going to pause there for a moment, and then we're just going to start to lower it back down towards the floor. Before it touches the floor, squeeze it back up again, just nice and slow and controlled. Pausing when you get to the top, avoiding any cramp in the very top of the hip, and back down. And we're just looking to keep that opposite leg down on the floor as well. You may have a tendency to let this hamstring leave the floor, but we're just looking to keep everything absolutely perfect, really working to strengthen this muscle here, which is one of the muscles that actually allows you to be able to touch your toes, to pull you down into the position where you can actually touch your toes. It's not always just about having hamstrings that are too tight. It could just be a weakness in certain muscles. So we're addressing that. Okay, our final one is a little bit of a weird one. I got it 20 years ago from the late Charles Poliquin, but I got reminded of it by my good friend Bernard. Here's what we do. We take the jaw, we use 2 or 3 fingers, we find this point at the lower part of the jaw, and we just apply some pressure down through that jaw. You'll find your tender spot, and when you find that tender spot, just stay on there for about 10 seconds until that frees up. Do the same on the other side, and then it's time to go and retest those hamstrings. Retest your toe touch, see if we've made some noticeable improvements right away. If we have, drop a comment in the box below. I'd love to help you out with all of your questions. If there's anything else that you would love me to cover in terms of mobility, in terms of movement, please drop a comment in the box below. I would love it if you could subscribe to the channel. It really helps, and just drop a thumbs up on the like button if this was in any way helpful to you at all. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.